Hello there! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, aka Dilemmas Crossing, and welcome back to Pottsfield, my spooky over-the-garden-wall themed island that we are currently working on. And there's been a couple of updates to the island since my last video, so let me just get you up to speed before we get into today's speed build. So let me open up my map and show you. You can also see as I do so that I have gone ahead and flattened the island completely, which was a very long process, but I think it's good to just I didn't flatten my first island, but I decided to try it this time, just kind of give myself a blank slate to work from. So anyway, so before we had Marshall, we had Bones, we had Cobb, we had Pashmina, we had Lucky, we had Bianca, we had Nan, and then we had Sherb move in. Now, I have gone villager hunting and ended up with Tasha. I thought that she might replace Robin, but then I found Robin. So Tasha might not be staying on the island, but she is here for now. And we did end up finding Robin. So our dreamy count for this island is up to 4. So, you know, it's some progress. Not much, but some. But anyway, that's enough about that. On to the topic of today's video. Today we are going to be doing an entrance build. And also you can see my house here, just plonked on the beach. It's not staying there, but I have customized the outside. So yes, today we're going to be building my entrance. I have actually done a little bit of work on it already, which you'll see as I head over here. I've laid down some of the pathing. I'm really new to using this type of pathing, like these more structured roads, so I thought it wouldn't be that much fun to watch me just trying to figure out how to build this like cul-de-sac thing, so I did it off camera. I also moved 2 villager houses here, Nan's and Lucky's, because they're both staying on the island and I'm like pretty much 99.9% sure that I want both of them to be in the front section of the island, which is the real world part of the island. If you're familiar with Over the Garden Wall, you'll know that most of the show takes place in the unknown, but there is an episode that shows where Wirt and Greg live sort of in our world, and it's just like a typical suburban area. So that's what I'm doing with the front section of the island. Not a full half, probably just like if you see on the map, it probably won't go beyond where resident services ends, so slightly under half. But yeah, that front part and then the whole back part will be the unknown. So right now we're working on the front part, which means that it's the suburban area. So this is all very new to me. My last island was very natural. Hi, Marshall. I really like Marshall. He can't stay, but he is so cute. So this is a bit out of my comfort zone, this more like small town suburban building, but, or like, I guess theme. It's only part of my theme, but I'm glad I don't have to do the whole island this way. But yeah, this is a bit out of my comfort zone, so we're just gonna see how it goes. And I also just kind of did this centerpiece and then I liked it, so I didn't want to tear it down and try and rebuild it. But everything else we will be just working on today. All right, all that being said, let's go ahead and start building. Okay, so just getting started now with the area between the 2 houses. As you can see, I had the idea of sort of giving Lucky and Nan a shared driveway space, so that's just what I'm working on at the moment. I thought the plain party lights arches would be really nice here, so I'm just putting them behind some fencing, and then I had the idea of putting trees behind them, which you'll see a bit later on when I get to that part. So I'm just fiddling with the placement of everything, as you do, coming around to see what it looks like. And yeah, so while I'm just going ahead and building out this little area, I might just talk a little bit about our current villager lineup and how we got here, because in the intro you may have been a little bit confused and thinking, wait a minute, in the last video you were just hunting for your first 3 plots and now you have so many other villagers. That's actually because I had filmed another video, a villager hunt video, but it was very long, very frustrating, and I never actually found anyone. So I decided not to use that footage, so let me just give you a quick recap of how each of the new villagers made their way onto the island. So Marshall was actually my first campsite villager, which was super lucky, I know. In my very first island, I got Beardo as my first campsite villager, and I hated him, so I was really excited to get Marshall, even though he obviously wasn't going to be staying permanently on the island. You know, it's been really fun having him around for a while because he's a cutie. Then I went on a brief villager hunt not too long after that. I didn't film that one. And I found Bones pretty quickly, and he's obviously one of our dreamies. And then the villager hunt that I did film and decided not to use was a huge disaster. I literally started it at like 10 p.m. in the evening, which I do not recommend. I was so tired, you know, I had to eventually like stop after 2.5 hours or something like that and just continue the next day. But I did not have a lot of time to actually hunt over the weekend because I was preparing for a job interview first thing on Monday morning. So yeah, I did not have a ton of time to just hunt for hours. It was also my partner's birthday that weekend, so yeah, eventually I just had to give up an autofill, and Sherb ended up moving in, which again, he's really cute, but he's obviously not going to stay on the island. And after that, I went and hunted again and found Tasha, who I had run into during the long hunt, actually. And I decided I would take her because she is kind of spooky looking. Like, she's got those sort of orange eyes. She's got kind of the right coloring. And I was like, well, if I can't find Robin, maybe I will keep Tasha instead. But then, of course, I went to villager hunt for my 10th plot, and I found Robin. So Tasha also is not going to be staying permanently. But that's pretty much how we ended up with the villagers that we have. So let's just go ahead and move back into what's going on with this build here. So at the moment, I'm just working on Lucky's yard. I had a bit of trouble trying to get this pathing to work, mostly because of the way the door is placed when the house is on this side. But eventually I decided the bricks were going to be good, and I sort of worked out how I wanted it to go, so I'm just still working through that here on the video. A lot of erasing things and, you know, messing around until I'm happy with it, and then I'm just filling in the yard, trying to work out where I want the spooky tree to go. I found that the spooky trees work quite well where you can't have a real tree, so I was just working on fitting that in. And obviously we have to have tons of spooky decorations in all of the yards in this part of the island because this is supposed to be Halloween. So everyone's gonna be, you know, got their decorations out, got their candy out for the trick-or-treaters. So I've just been making sure to put tons of those types of items and custom codes, and all the custom codes that I'm using will be listed in the description for this video, so you can check them out if there's any that you're interested in using on your islands. I really liked this little trick-or-treat bag one. That's a really nice filler. And here I'm just fiddling with the weed placement, fixing the pathing yet again, because of course, you know, it's never gonna be just right the first time. And I decided I wanted it to extend a little further so that I could fit a table and chairs there. At this stage in the proceedings, I didn't have the table to match the garden chair that I was using in Lucky's yard, so I do at some point go off camera to a treasure island to grab it, but yes, at the moment, just trying to get that pathing right to go under the chair. Always a struggle, pathing. I really like this brick coat I'm using though, I think it looks really good. I also just wanted to thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I'm actually kind of surprised that we got here so quickly, especially given the fact that I literally haven't posted a video in 2 weeks. October's been quite a crazy month for me, actually. I've been away a lot. Was in a friend's wedding, and then my partner and I went on a little trip with some family, and then I got back and immediately had to turn around and travel again for work, so I've hardly been home. And that's why this video has taken so long for me to edit, but hopefully we will be near the end and ready to post it soon. And here I'm just extending the sidewalk over on the sort of diagonal parts of the road. These triangular pieces of code are made to be similar to the sidewalk code that I'm using, but my partner actually did them for me because the creator just didn't happen to have that particular piece and I really wanted it. So those ones can't be found with the rest of the codes that I use from this creator, but everything else can. So yeah, I'm really happy with this road code and the sidewalk. I quite like it. I think it's really nice. And here we're just working on the front portion of the entrance. And I do a bit of fiddling around here with various items, trying to make them work in various locations. Starting off with the street lamps with the banners. But these being a 2-wide item, I found they actually made things a little bit difficult when I was trying to put the fences there. As you can see, I couldn't put a hedge in that spot where I wanted one. Oh, and then Cobb ran over to speak to me, and he sneezed on me, which was just great. Thanks so much, buddy. Honestly, he's the villager I'm most eager to get off the island, so this did not help his standing in my villager rankings at all. So I'm just extending the sidewalk a bit further here to try and get rid of the hedge issue. But of course, we had to move the street lamp out of the way to be able to do that, because this game is really finicky about where things are and where you can put pathing and all that stuff, so still trying to make that work at this stage, but you'll see pretty quickly that I end up moving the street lamps to a different spot. But at the moment, we're still working with them. My idea basically was that I'd have that sort of benches, the walkway in from the airport, and then on either side there'd be sort of an area with like trees and flowers and other filler that would kind of be hedged in, so that's kind of what I'm working on now. And those would just kind of frame the entrance nicely. Again, we're just moving things around, trying to work out where we want everything to go. I think I'm pretty close to realizing that I don't actually want the street lamps in this particular position. But we're still trying to make them work for the moment. What I end up doing is just moving them a little bit further back. Yep, here we go. I decided to go with the decorative pillars instead. And of course you've got to put a spooky lantern on the top. That's pretty much a requirement. So, gone ahead and done that. And the same thing with the other side, once I can find the pillar. And I'm really happy with how this little section was turning out. I think it's quite cute. I like having the entrance framed by the pillars with the jack-o'-lanterns on top. I think it looks really nice. They add good height. Here I am putting the street lamps back in their new locations and throwing in some spooky towers because, of course, we always have to have spooky towers. Just a final look. And that was where I finished up building the first day and came back to it a couple of days later. So you can see it's slightly later in the day. And when I move further to the left, you'll see that in the intervening days I actually went ahead and did a little bit of water terraforming and also built a bridge to kind of frame this location, give it a sort of end point so that we kind of knew where we were building to. I've only built these areas right near the entrance. I didn't do the little section next to the houses on either side. But here we're just filling in the space a little bit more with a... is it the steel trash can? I think that's what it's called. And then I've gone back to do a little more work on the yards. You can see Lucky has a table now with some chips on top, a little snack, and then I'm putting in a grass standee just to add a little bit of height. I kind of wanted it to look a little bit overgrown, but I liked all of the other items I had there, so I didn't want to remove codes for an extra weed or anything like that. Here I'm just putting in the trees that I mentioned behind the houses to sort of frame that backdrop. You can see I've also changed the front a little bit. I've added a garbage can and some other garbage bags. And again, we're just enclosing this little area right behind the houses with some hedges. I just wanted to give it a very sort of discreet area that I was working on today, and I just ended up filling the whole thing in with bushes and weeds and flowers. And just called that a day for this area, really. Just, you know, to kind of give the houses a nice backdrop and make the whole area feel finished. And I do end up, because obviously I'm recording this weeks after I actually did the build, I do end up terraforming behind this area, and then adding some trees and such up there as well. So this is kind of like, there's nothing really behind this on the suburban section of the island. This is kind of where it ends. We're just filling in with lots of bushes and flowers. I ended up kind of choosing 3 flowers per little area, 2 or 3 flowers per little area that I was working on, and sticking with those ones, usually one each of a black, an orange, and a yellow flower. But yep, just going ahead and putting in some weeds. And again, lots of bushes, lots of fillers. Always a fun time. Do love me some fillers. So when I'm recording this, it's only a couple of days until Halloween. So does anyone have any fun Halloween plans? Obviously, I'm definitely not going to be finishing this island by Halloween. Oh, here's that bridge I mentioned earlier. You can see I've started to terraform the river and just kind of cut it off right after the bridge. I was really just trying to get the bridge in place so that I could sort of decorate around it a little bit. But yeah, Halloween. I don't really have any plans, although I do get some trick-or-treaters in my neighborhood, which is always fun. So I usually just decorate my house a little bit so that they know that, you know, mine is one of the houses that offers candy, because Halloween's not a huge thing here in New Zealand where I live. It's become more of a thing than it used to be when I first moved here, for sure. But it's still not like a huge thing. Like, not every house takes part in the neighborhood, but I always love to, you know. It's my Americanness, I guess, coming through. I've always loved Halloween. It's like my favorite holiday, so I quite enjoy it, and I always like to make sure that I have candy to give out on the day. And here I'm just working on this little area directly to the left of the entrance. It was quite a small space, and I decided to sort of make it a little picnic spot, so I'm just filling that area in now, framing it with some hedges. Got a picnic table in the middle, and we just put down some pathing, and now I'm just kind of working out how we're filling in the rest of the area. I decided to leave that bit open heading down to the beach. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with the beaches on this island. I figured a campsite on the beach would be good, but I'm not sure what stretch of beach will have the campsite. Probably not this one, as it's a really small stretch of beach in this particular spot. So I'm not really sure. It'll probably just end up being like a little bit of a continuation of the picnic area, like maybe a bonfire, that sort of a thing, like nothing too crazy. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's gonna happen with the beaches. I feel like it's a bit easier on this front portion of the island, but the back portion where it's meant to be the unknown, it's a little bit harder because beaches do not really fit the vibes, so we'll see what I end up doing. But yeah, I'm just going ahead and putting down some codes and some flowers in this area, kind of filling it in, trying to make this look like, you know, a little picnic spot that's a little bit overgrown, but you know, people are using it. It's part of the community, and it was a good opportunity to use the spooky table settings. I wanted to sort of make it look like someone had been having a little Halloween party here in this spot. I've also gone ahead and tried to use the spooky treats basket. You'll see where I've put it is not where it ends up staying. I just felt like it was a little bit too small there, and I ended up going with a different item, the spooky trick lamp, right there in that spot. But I did still end up finding a place for the spooky treats basket. So this was sort of someone's Halloween party that they'd been having probably earlier in the night before, you know, trick-or-treating began in earnest, or maybe it's still going on when everyone's trick-or-treating. I don't really know, you know? I have decided, I think, that I am probably gonna try and set my dream address on Halloween in the evening. I mean, it'll depend if I like what the weather's doing and everything, but I do think that would be cool. So that is kind of my plan, my rough plan at the moment. Here we are just going and filling in some stuff on the other side. You can see I went back and forth quite a bit with my flower placements and where I wanted things, and there's actually a lot of indecision that I cut out of this video. So what you're seeing is not even all of the sort of going back and changing my mind that actually happened. Sometimes it's a real struggle when you're only using 3 types of flower to space them without it looking too repetitive. So that's a lot of what I was sort of trying to work out. I'm getting some more codes. I really like doing the dropped candy on top of the candy, well, the dropped candy code, I guess. So there's one of the codes I'm using is like a dropped candy, and then I'm dropping candy on top of it. That sounds quite confusing, but I think you know what I mean. And then here I am just moving to the other side of the entrance. I didn't do too much in this area this particular time. I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with the area, so I just kind of did a little bit, like enough to, you know, make the entrance look complete, but I didn't extend this very far because I was still working it out. Of course, since recording this, I have done even more work on this island, so this area has been finished at this point. I can't remember if I did it off camera or if it was part of my next speed build video that you guys will see, which is my Nook's Cranny one. But I definitely did extend it a little bit further than what you're seeing here, but it was pretty much just fillers. And here again, I'm being very indecisive about where I want things. how much I want to be hedges versus other things and where I want my bushes to be. You know, it's a struggle sometimes. It's a struggle to figure out where you want everything to go. And I was struggling quite a bit sometimes with this build. Sometimes fillers are harder than you think they're going to be, especially when you overthink everything like I do. But we are nearing the end. I think I'm nearly finished with this little area. I really didn't go any further past the hedges at this stage. The area is complete now, but at this point I just pretty much only did a little bit. But yeah, at the rate I'm going, I have no idea when this island is going to be finished. It's been a slow process, which I should have expected, given that this is my first time designing an island for YouTube, so, you know, having to plan out when I can actually record things and not being able to really do builds, you know, when I can't record things, so it's taking a bit longer. Hopefully I can finish it, you know, before winter, in the northern hemisphere that is. But we'll just have to see where we go. But it looks like we're about done with this build, so I am gonna hand you back over to real-time Emma to do the walkthrough. Hope you enjoyed! Okay, I think that's where I'm gonna stop building for now. I haven't really fully decided what to do with the area to the right of the entrance, so we'll just leave that as it is for the moment. But it is conveniently nighttime now, so let's take a little look at the entrance that we have built today. I really like how all the pumpkins look all lit up. And then we have Lucky's yard. He's got some hot Cheetos or something like that there. Lucky and Nan's shared driveway. Looks really nice with all those trees back there. Here's Nan's house. Our lovely centerpiece here. I think it looks really awesome. This area has got some nice benches, scattered papers, other little fillers. There's not much this side, just some trees, flowers, bushes, fillers. I haven't decided what we're gonna do here yet, so just leave that as it is for now. And then over here, we've got our lovely little picnic spot where someone has clearly been having a little Halloween party. And then that leads on to our bridge. So yeah, this is my entrance. I'm really happy with it. I hope you enjoyed watching me build it, and yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button to see all of the next builds I do on this island, and I will see you in the next video. All right, bye!